The ultimate guide to Australian electrical safety, understanding switches and plugs. Video presentation transcript. Welcome to the most comprehensive guide you'll ever see about Australian electrical safety. Today, we're diving deep into two critical topics that every Australian homeowner, tradesperson, and anyone working with electrical equipment absolutely must understand. I'm going to explain everything you need to know about single pole vs double pole switches, the critical safety differences and applications. 10A vs 15A Australian plugs, the E10P vs E15P specifications and why they matter. By the end of this presentation, you'll understand not just what these differences are, but why they exist, how they keep you safe, and when to use each type. This isn't just theory, this is practical, life-saving knowledge. Wrench Part 1. Single pole versus double pole switches. Understanding the critical safety difference. Let me start with a real-world scenario that happens every day. Someone orders a double pole architrave switch and receives a single pole switch instead of a double pole. Why is this wrong, and why does it matter? What is a single pole switch? A single pole switch is the most common type of electrical switch used in residential and commercial settings. As the name suggests, it has one pole, which is essentially a terminal that connects to a power source. Single pole switches have two brass terminals, one for the incoming power wire and the other for the outgoing wire that supplies power to the load. A standard single pole architrave switch controls only one circuit, has two terminals, one input, one output, only interrupts the active, hot, wire when switched off, leaves the neutral wire permanently connected, is used for 99% of normal household lighting. What is a double pole switch? A double pole switch has two poles or terminals, each connecting to a separate power source. This design allows double pole switches to simultaneously control both the active and neutral wires. Double pole switches have four brass terminals, two for the incoming power wires and two for the outgoing wires that supply power to the loads. A double pole architrave switch controls two wires simultaneously, has four terminals, two inputs, two outputs, interrupts both the active and neutral wires when switched off, provides complete electrical isolation from the power source. Critical safety difference. Here's the life-saving difference. All recreational vehicles are required, by law, to be fitted with double pole power switches. These have the added safety advantage that both the active and neutral wires are disconnected when the switch is turned off. The electrical flow difference. Single pole switch. When off, only the active wire is disconnected. The neutral wire remains connected to the electrical source, creating a potential path for current flow if there's a fault. Double pole switch. When off, both active and neutral wires are disconnected, creating complete electrical isolation with no possible current path. When must you use double pole switches? For your own safety, and others, do not place normal switches in your RV. Double pole switches are legally required for all caravans and RVs, Australian law, marine applications, boats, yachts, high-power appliances, hot water systems, air conditioners, industrial equipment, any application requiring complete electrical isolation. Physical specifications. Both AS2 and A2D switches share the same mounting requirements. Dimensions: 85 mm by 35 mm. Mounting requires 25 mm square recess, 16 mm deep. Orientation can be mounted horizontal or vertical. Compatibility: both use POWERCLIP range components. High voltage Part 210A vs 15A Australian plugs. The E10P vs E15P critical differences. Now let's tackle the second major topic, understanding Australian plug ratings and why the earth pin size makes all the difference. Australian Electrical Standards Foundation. The domestic mains power supply in Australia is 240 volts AC, 50 Hz. Standard 3-pin earthed power outlets are rated at 10 amps and are usually switched. The Australian electrical system operates with a frequency of 50 Hz and is designed to accommodate a supply voltage of 240 volts AC. The Australian mains plug configuration was originally presented as Provisional Standard C112 in 1937, formalised as Standard C112 in 1938, redesignated AS3112 in 1981 and harmonized with the New Zealand standard and redesignated as NZS3112 in 1993. The 10A plug, E10P, standard household. The 10A plug is most commonly used for household appliances. This plug has a straightforward design featuring 3 flat pins and fits the standard outlets found in residential settings. Technical specifications. Current rating, 10 amperes maximum. Voltage, 240 VAC. Pin dimensions, line neutral and earth pins are all 6.35 mm diameter, 1/4 inch. Earth pin, standard 6.35 mm diameter. Common applications. Televisions and entertainment systems. Computers and laptops. Kitchen appliances, toasters, kettles, microwaves. Lighting fixtures. Phone chargers and small electronics. Standard household equipment under 2400W. The 15A plug, E15P, heavy duty. The 15A plug, which can be recognized by its slightly wider earth pin, caters to more robust needs. It's ideal for powering larger appliances like heavy-duty air conditioners and certain industrial tools that demand more electricity. Technical specifications. Current rating, 15 amperes maximum. Voltage, 240 VAC. Pin dimensions, active and neutral pins remain 6.35 mm. Earth pin, larger earth pin which is 9.08 mm, 3/8 inch, in diameter. Critical applications. Caravans and motorhomes. Industrial welding equipment. Large air conditioning units. Commercial kitchen equipment. Workshop machinery. High power tools and equipment over 2400W. The safety key, earth pin size. The bigger grounding pin prevents it being inserted into 10A socket outlets. This is not a design flaw, it's a critical safety feature. Why the larger earth pin exists. Prevents overloading, stops high-power 15A devices from being plugged into 10A circuits. Circuit protection. 10A circuits have smaller wiring that cannot safely handle 15A loads. Fire prevention. Prevents overheating and potential electrical fires. Legal compliance. Ensures adherence to Australian electrical safety standards. Real-world power examples. 15A is for things that require more power than 10A to operate and of course depends on the item, and don't let size fool you. For reference, I'm currently using one for my small electric heater which uses 12A of power since it's converting the electricity to heat. However, my larger 6000 BTU air conditioner only uses about 7A of power, so the 10A plug is good enough. And trying to use the 10A plug with my heater, short-circuited and destroyed the plug, making it completely unusable after that. Socket compatibility rules. Sockets accept equal and lower rated plugs, so a 32A outlet accepts 32A, 25A, 20A, 15A, 10A and 7.5A plugs, but a 10A outlet will only accept 10A plugs. This means 10A sockets accept only 10A plugs. 15A sockets accept both 15A and 10A plugs. You cannot force a 15A plug into a 10A socket, the earth pin won't fit. Revolving light safety implications and legal requirements. Why these standards save lives. Both types of plugs are designed to safely meet the power requirements of various devices, ensuring they align well with the electrical system's capabilities. The flat pins of the Australian plug provide a more secure connection, reducing the risk of loose connections that can lead to overheating or electrical fires. Legal requirements. For caravans and RVs, all recreational vehicles are required, by law, to be fitted with double-pole power switches. This applies to all caravan lighting circuits, all appliance switches in RVs, marine electrical systems, any mobile accommodation. For high-power appliances, equipment drawing more than 10A must use 15A plugs. 15A circuits require appropriate wiring and protection. Professional electrician installation required for 15A outlets. Common mistakes that can kill. Using AS2 instead of A2D in caravans, illegal and dangerous. Filing down 15A earth pins creates fire risk and voids insurance. Using adapters to connect 15A to 10A overloads circuits. Assuming bigger tools need bigger plugs, Power rating, not size, determines requirement. Bar graph comprehensive comparison tables. Switch comparison, single pole vs double pole. Feature single pole switch, double pole switch. Legal status, standard household use required by law in RVs. Poles 1 pole, 2 terminals 2 poles, 4 terminals. Wire control, active wire only, active and neutral wires. Electrical isolation, partial, neutral remains live, complete, both wires disconnected. Safety level, standard protection, complete isolation. Applications, home lighting, RVs, marine, industrial. Cost, lower cost, higher cost. Installation, simple, more complex wiring. Plug comparison, E10P vs E15P. Feature, E10P, 10A plug, E15P, 15A plug. Current rating 10 amperes max, 15 amperes max. Power capacity up to 2400 WUP to 3600 W. Earth pin 6.35 mm diameter, 9.08 mm diameter. Socket compatibility, 10A and 15A sockets. 15A sockets only, typical use household appliances, heavy duty equipment. Safety features, standard grounding prevents socket mismatching. Legal status, standard domestic, required for high power. Bullseye practical decision guide. When to choose single pole switches. Standard home lighting circuits, normal household switches, basic on/off control needs, cost-sensitive installations, simple switch replacement. When you must choose double pole switches. Any caravan or RV installation, legal requirement. Marine electrical systems, industrial safety applications. When to use E10P, 10A plug. Most residential applications. When you must use E15P, 15A plug. Equipment drawing 10 to 15 amperes. Warning, critical safety warnings. Never do these things. File down a 15A earth pin to fit a 10A socket. Use single pole switches in caravans, it's illegal and dangerous. Force incompatible plugs into wrong sockets. Ignore manufacturer specifications, they exist for your safety. It's always best to consult with a licensed electrician or wiring expert to ensure compliance with local electrical codes and regulations. When in doubt, choose the higher rated option. Legal requirements exist to save lives. Magnifying glass conclusion, why this knowledge matters. Understanding the difference between single pole and double pole switches, and 10A and 15A plugs, isn't just technical knowledge, it's life-saving information that prevents electrical fires. Proper ratings prevent overloading. Saves lives. Complete isolation capabilities are double pole switches. Protects your equipment. Using correct ratings prevents damage. Ensures professional installations. Understanding helps you communicate with electricians. Remember, electrical safety isn't optional. These standards, developed over decades and written in the blood of past accidents, exist to protect you, your family, and your property. When you understand why these differences exist, you'll never question the importance of using the right component for the right application. Stay safe, stay legal, and always choose the right electrical components for your specific needs.